my viewers at home and everyone that is watching this my video clip. Today is another new segment of our edition of a topic which we'll be treating drastically, and that topic you can see right here on the board is called what? Catalysis, one major aspect of physical chemistry. Now, if you hear of the word catalysis, catalysis was first coined by a scientist, a great scientist, whom we know as John Jacob Berzelius in the year 1836. He coined the word from two Greek words, which means scatter, wholly, and lean, to loosen, when the word catalysis is what is broken down. Now, when you observe the whole concept of catalysis, what was the idea? What brought about the idea of John Jacob Berzelius' idea? He discovered that there were some reactions in chemistry which, when they occur, they tend to be very slow, and that some substances, when he added it to such a reaction, they occur speedily. Now, this whole idea of catalysis all boils down to, firstly, to John Jacob Berzelius' idea. The question now is, as you can see right here on the board, is what is catalysis? Catalysis, as we all know, is a chemical process in which the rate, underline this word, the rate of a reaction is influenced by a substance, and that substance is what we call what? A catalyst, from the word catalysis. That catalysis is a chemical process in which the rate of a chemical reaction is influenced by a substance that remains chemically unchanged at the end of the reaction, and that substance is what we know as what? A catalyst. That at the end of a reaction, meaning a catalyst can start up a reaction, but they are regenerated at the end of the reaction. It means they are chemically unchanged at the end of the reaction. So this whole process of catalyst, this whole process of that substance is what we know as what? Catalysis. Now, what then is a catalyst? We have defined catalyst from the definition we gave about catalysis. But what then is a catalyst? A catalyst can be defined as a substance which we what? Which we alter, underline this word, alter, due to researches, which we alter the rate. Please take note that we always mention the word, the rate, which we alter the rate of a chemical reaction itself remaining or chemically unchanged at the end of the reaction. That a catalyst is beyond the scope of elementary knowledge in chemistry. That a catalyst is a substance which will alter the rate of a chemical reaction and itself will remain chemically unchanged at the end of the reaction. Alright.
Go.
As you can see in what we did earlier on about a catalyst can be of two categories, can be of two kinds, and they are, a catalyst can either be positive. When we say a catalyst is positive, it means that that catalyst is capable of what? Enhancing the rate of a chemical reaction. Meaning a catalyst can either be a positive catalyst or a negative catalyst, depending on the reaction in which they are acting on. When we say a reaction is positive, I've told you rightly that it is a catalyst which enhances the rate of a chemical reaction. But what then is a negative catalyst? It is the direct opposite of positive. That a negative catalyst is a catalyst which tend to retard, they tend to slow down the rate of a reaction. Now, that is not all about what we call the chemistry of catalysis or the chemistry of catalyst. Now, as you can see right here on the board, a catalyst does what? A catalyst lowers the activation energy of a chemical reaction. As you can see that a catalyst increases the rate of a chemical reaction by what? By changing the mechanism of the reaction, thereby decreasing the activation energy. The question now is, what is an activation energy? As you all know, activation energy is the energy that must be overcome, meaning the barrier that must be overcome before a reaction can be converted into a product. You understood? So, and what does catalyst do? It creates another route in which a reaction can occur, thereby providing an alternative route. By doing what? By lowering the what? Activation energy, that barrier. If it takes 20 minutes for a reaction to occur, for the rate of a reaction to occur, because a catalyst has been added, it will create another route to see how the rate of the activation energy can be reduced. That barrier can be reduced. As you can see in this diagram below, in the diagram that you can see on the board contains both a reaction for an uncatalyzed reaction and that of the what? Catalyzed reaction, as you can see here on the board. Now, when a graph when a graph is being plotted, here is potential energy and the reaction progress. Now, this A and B, here is where the product lies, and this is the reactant, meaning the conversion of reactant to product follows a reaction pathway. Now, you can see here for the uncatalyzed reaction, this is the activation energy or activated complex. As you can see, the uncatalyzed complex. While here contain what? The catalyzed complex. Each of them having a different activation energy. This barrier has been lowered so that this reactant you are seeing here can be converted to product. You see, the catalyzed reaction helps to create another reaction pathway, but the reaction mechanism, look at it here, look at it. Another reaction mechanism has been changed from where it used to be to this other one here. So it means there was a time in my high school days, a question was asked by one of my great professors when he said, explain briefly with a graph about a reaction that consists of the uncatalyzed and the catalyzed reaction. This is an energy profile diagram that talks about it clearly. This is for the uncatalyzed reaction. This is for the catalyzed reaction, telling you that a catalyst, when added to a chemical reaction, lowers or breaks down the activation energy, which is the barrier. Without this barrier being overcome, it will take longer time for reaction to be converted to product, or the reaction might not occur when catalyst is not being added to it. All right.
3, go.
Okay. Now we move ahead swiftly. Now, before we run through the features or the characteristics of a catalyst, we must talk about, or just as I've already told you, that a catalyst changes the mechanism. Please, there are some key words you need to understand for high school examinations, for A-level exams and stuff like that. So a catalyst changes the mechanism or the mechanisms for a reaction. Now, what are some of the features or some of the characteristics of a catalyst? Now, the first thing you can say about that, a catalyst remains unchanged in mass and chemical decomposition at the end of the reaction. That's for sure. that at the end, from the definition we gave about catalyst, that when they enter into a chemical reaction, they are regenerated, they are chemically what? They remain chemically or changed at the end of a chemical reaction. Number two, a catalyst is specific in its action. Catalysts are specific in their action, meaning they catalyze a particular reaction, which we see later when we enter what we call the types of catalysis. But now, a catalyst is more effective when finely divided. Of course, when you have a lump, for example, you have a lump of chalk, calcium carbonate, a lump of chalk, and a grounded chalk. Knowledge tells you that the one that is grounded will tend to react, we tend to act more quickly than the one that is still in its compacted form. Is that clear? So we move ahead. Now, a catalyst cannot in general initiate a reaction. They do not. Please. A catalyst cannot in general, in a general term, they do not initiate a reaction. And lastly, it is only small amount of catalyst can cause a very wide range of unlimited reaction. As you can see, we will run through it again. The features of a catalyst remain unchanged in mass and chemical decomposition at the end of the reaction. A catalyst is specific in its action. A catalyst is more effective when finely divided. A catalyst cannot in general initiate a reaction. A small amount of catalyst is generally needed to produce almost unlimited reaction. All right. Okay, so right now on the board we'll talk about what? Types of catalysis. Now, basically, we have two types of catalysis. Although sooner or later, you will soon realize that there are not just two, but there are three, which is the last aspect we'll talk about. Majorly, there are two types, which we have the homogeneous catalysis and the heterogeneous catalysis. Now, when you say a reaction or a catalysis is homogeneous, it is very, very simple. It simply means that the reaction or that the catalysis is reaction occurs in a particular phase, which is on the board. That it's a type of catalysis whose reaction occurs in one phase, and the rate is a function of the concentration of the catalyst, which means without catalyst it cannot form product. Is that clear? That any reaction that occurs in one phase is called, from the word homo typically means the same. It occurs in one phase, the same phase. For example, a reaction that involves the oxidation of sulfur dioxide or sulfur 4 oxide to yield sulfur trioxide or sulfur 6 oxide being catalyzed by nitrogen 2 oxide gas. Look at it. They are all in the same phase. The SO2 is in the gaseous phase. The oxygen is in the gaseous state. The catalyst being used is in the gaseous state, and this one also is also in the gaseous. So it means a type of reaction in which they are both in the same phase is called homogeneous catalysis. Secondly, is the decomposition of acetaldehyde or ethanol in the presence of molecular iodine to give us to give us methane and carbon 2 oxide. You can see that all of them are all in the same phase, and we call such a reaction, we call such a catalysis homogeneous catalysis. Then we move swiftly to the word heterogeneous catalysis. From the word hetero, it means different. Is that understood? It means different. So it means it involves a type of catalysis whose reactants are catalysts, whose reactants and catalysts comprise two separate, meaning they are not in the same phases. The catalyst and the reactants that are involved are not in the same phase. And what again? And the reaction occurs in the catalytic solid surface. Again, too, the rate is a function. The rate is a function of the surface area, and if the number of atoms or active sites per cm cube. So I said that the rate is a function of the surface area. The rate is a function of the surface area. As you can see right on the bottom, a very good example is in the contact process, whereby sulfur dioxide with that of oxygen, when oxygen is used to oxidize sulfur dioxide, in the presence of a finely divided platinum catalyst or vanadium pentaoxide. Vanadium pentaoxide. These are the catalysts used to yield what? Sulfur 6 oxide. You see, now observe these two reactants and that of the product, they are all in the gaseous state, but the catalyst used is in the solid state, the solid surface. Just like I said that the rate is a function of the surface area, or that the reaction occurred in the catalytic or solid surface. As you can see, this process is one of the process used in the preparation of what H2SO4 by the contact process. That's the first one. Number two is this is the Haber process, in which nitrogen gas in the gaseous state, hydrogen in the gaseous state, to produce ammonia in the gaseous state, in which a finely divided ion is used as the catalyst, and the ion used, they observe it is in the solid state. Why these reactants, even the products, are in the what? Are in the gaseous phase. The ion, the finely divided ion, is in the solid state. Lastly, is the hydrogenation of ethene gas, in which hydrogen is added in the presence of a finely nickel catalyst to what? To produce a what? To produce a saturated hydrocarbon. The hydrogenation of unsaturated hydrocarbon to yield a saturated hydrocarbon in the presence of a finely divided what? Nickel catalyst. All right.
Go.
Okay. Next is what we call the steps that are involved in heterogeneous what? Catalysis. The first is what we call adsorption and activation of the reactant. Before this process occurs, it doesn't just occur once. A series of steps which I have outlined here have been arranged for you in such a way that the steps are tinted. The first step is the adsorption and activation of the reactant. The reactant must undergo what we call adsorption, and activation will occur. Number two is the migration of the adsorbed reactant on the surface. Next is the reaction of the adsorbed substances. Before, lastly, what we call escape or desorption of the products. The question you should ask is, what is adsorption? Is it the same thing as absorption? No, they are not. Adsorption simply refers to the collection of one substance on the surface of another substance. The collection of one substance on the surface of another substance. While absorption refers to the penetration of a substance into another. For example, when you say water is absorbed by a sponge. Please, these steps are in accordance. Adsorption, which we said absorption simply refers to the collection of one substance on the surface That's what we call it surface catalysis. It's not inside, it's surface catalysis. Number 2 is the migration of the adsorbed reactants on the surface. Migration of the adsorbed reactant on the surface. Number 3 is the reaction of the adsorbed substances. The last one is escape or desorption of the product. Quickly, we rush quickly to what we call specificity of catalyst. As you can see, these two enzymes are highly specific in nature. Enzymes are catalysts are highly specific in nature. They are highly specific in nature. Although, look at in the case of such a reaction whereby you have carbon dioxide and hydrogen gas, these two reactants are the same, but the catalysts that are used differ. In the first case, we are making use of nickel catalyst, and it gave both, meaning the two reactants are the same, but the two products differ. Why? Because catalysts are specific. When you make use of nickel catalyst, what do you get? You get what? You get methane gas and water. But when you now make use of zinc oxide and what? Chromium triiodide, what do you get? You get methanol. So it means that both of these reactions, they are what? They are thermodynamically feasible, meaning they can occur practically. They can be done practically. Exactly, because of that's why you see the word, the terminology. What? Thermodynamically, they are feasible. This reaction is what is feasible. Now, what then is an optimal temperature? As you can see right here on the board, that an optimal temperature is the temperature when catalytic activity of the catalyst is minimal. And remember, catalyst work best at optimal temperature, whereby the catalytic activity of the catalyst is what is minimal. Then we move to what are promoters. Another case study. What are promoters? What are catalytic poisons, also called inhibitors? Promoters, these are substances that enhance the activity of a catalyst. The activity of a catalyst. In the case of what you are seeing here on the board, that in the addition of a promoter to this catalyst, which is finely divided platinum catalyst, can enhance the activity of this platinum catalyst, the active site of it. Now, catalytic poisons, they are substances that inhibit the activity of a catalyst. A very good example is the reaction that you can see right here in this particular sector, that this reaction that is being catalyzed by platinum, when is not in excess, a substance arsenic oxide, sometimes arsenic is added to the activity site of platinum to reduce the activity of this catalyst, thereby affecting the rate of this chemical reaction. Promoter, they enhance. They are not catalysts, but they are substances that enhance the activity of the active site of a catalyst. That's for promoter. But for catalytic poisons or inhibitor, when a catalyst is overproducing a product, what happens? Arsenic, when added, or a poisonous substance when added, like in the case of tetraethyl lead that is being added to petrol. Is that understood? Now, lastly, is what we call enzyme catalysis. Remember, I told you that basically we have two types of catalysis. We have the homogeneous catalysis and the heterogeneous catalysis. But that is not all. There is another last aspect which we call enzyme catalysis. Of course, enzymes, they are biological catalysts. No reaction can occur in the human body when what we call an enzyme is not being acted on the substrate. When I mean substrate, I mean the reactant. So enzymes, they are biological catalysts. They are from protein origin. And what do? They increase the rate of a biochemical reaction by what? By factors ranging from what? 10 raised to power 6, which is a million, to 10 raised to power 18. They are highly specific in nature. Enzymes are highly specific in nature, which we will see later. And lastly, is that they act on certain molecules only, called the substrate. And I've told you just now that substrate simply means what? Reactant, while the rest of the system is what? Is unaffected. All right.
Go.
Okay, we've talked about the enzyme catalysis, and I've told you that when enzymes are highly specific in nature. So when an enzyme should react with a substrate, we have what we call K1, K minus 1 to what we call the enzyme substrate, which will now give us what? Which will now give us the enzyme plus what? The product. So when an enzyme should react with a substrate, what will happen? The substrate is the reactant. When we enter what we call the enzymatic kinetics of reaction, we'll see that then it will give out what we call an enzyme substrate complex, which will give us down to what we call the enzyme, which will be regenerated or recovered, and a product is what is formed. Now, as shown in our next video, which you will soon see subsequently, we will now work on what they call chemical kinetics. So for today, we'll stop here, and I will advise and plead for you guys to like my YouTube page, subscribe, and please share. I remain my humble self, Adrenaline, and I love you guys, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.